Hello everyone, Speedrunner 0-18 here, and today we'll be doing a solo run with Volcarona. This Pokemon is honestly one of the best bug types in all of Pokemon. It is a bug and fire type Pokemon with a base stat total of 550 and a massive 135 special attack, 105 for special defense, a solid 100 speed, and pretty poor attack and defense. Yeah, that's not too good, but those other stats are amazing. Volcarona also has a great moveset. Via level up, it has access to some good moves like Silver Wind, which is the bug type version of Ancient Power, Quiver Dance, which boosts your special attack, special defense, and speed by one stage, which are Volcarona's best stats, and Heat Wave and its signature move Fiery Dance, albeit at very late levels. When I said it had a great moveset, I meant not in the early game. I can definitely say I won't be using Fiery Dance. Via TMs though, we get some great moves such as Calm Mind, Solar Beam, Psychic, Flamethrower, Fire Blast, Aerial Ace, Acrobatics, and more. Although I will mention that Calm Mind, Psychic, and Flamethrower are all locked in the post game, so for a huge chunk of the run, we'll only have Ember as a fire move. Man, I hope this run doesn't suck, especially with the new experience system. Let's wait no more and get into it. The time for this run starts upon loading the save file after making my Volcarona a perfect starter, with the natures, IVs, and ability of choice. The first chance I can save and do that though is after the first Bianca and Charon battle in my house, so that won't be counted in the run. You really didn't miss much though. Throughout the early portions of the run, since the game has a long ass tutorial, let me explain what kind of Volcarona we're going with. I ran a poll on YouTube a few months ago, and a huge majority of you said hidden abilities are alright. But I instead just went with my regular ability Flame Body, so if the opponent uses a contact move, there's a 30% chance it'll get burned. Its hidden ability is Swarm, which it boosts your bug moves by 50% at less than a third HP. But I really don't think it'll be too useful, so regular ability it is. Also, I went with a Rash nature, which is plus special attack minus special defense. Most rock moves are physical, mostly the threatening ones like Stone Edge, Rock Slide, and Rock Throw, so I really don't want to mess with defense. Plus, even though my attack is trash, I still need to rely on a lot of physical moves, so I can't use a modest nature, so Rash it is. I also meant to go with 31 IVs, but after the run, I realized I actually forgot to do that. Luckily, the random stats I had were all over 20, so it did not affect the run too much. The TM for Hidden Power is actually locked in the battle subway for 48 battle points. So most Pokemon, no, all Pokemon are not getting this in the first round. With all that out of the way, let's get on with the run. Starting in Accumula Town, where we watch a green-haired man give a speech on Pokemon liberation, and then afterwards I get challenged by a boy named N, who says he can talk to Pokemon, so I decide to knock some sense into his ass. After that, I enter Route 2, get the running shoes from Mom, and defeat every trainer on the route. You see, since Volcarona is in the slow level up group, and some hard fights coming up include Lenora, who is the Whitney of this game, and other gym leaders like Elisa, Clay, and Skyla, and since with the new experience formula, it is harder to gain experience the higher level you are compared to everyone else, battling everyone along the way until you're all at the right level is the good way to go. With Route 2 cleared out, I battle my rival Bianca, and trust me, there are a lot of rival battles in this game. Her first Pokemon is Lillipup, which is easily taken down with Ember. And finally, since I replaced the Grass starter, Bianca sends out Oshawott, which I can take down with Gust. Since I'm using a Fire type, both of my rival starter Pokemon will be resisted by me. I enter Striaton City, go to the center to buy some potions, and then defeat the 2 trainers in the Dream Yard for experience, especially since they're mandatory. Plus at the end here, since I replaced Snivy, she gives me a Panpour, which will learn the HM's Cut and Surf, which is very helpful. Plus Waterfall and Dive in the post game if I need it. With the Dream Yard also cleared out, the gym is still closed off, so I go to the trainer school and take on my second rival, Charon. Cheren plays a different strategy than Bianca. Cheren is actually the only trainer in the main playthrough who will give his Pokemon held items. His Tepig is holding an Oranberry, but all that means is that it needs an extra hit. And then his following Purloin is a piece of cake with Leech Life. Cheren then gives us some Oranberries, which that and other berries are kinda hard to come by in this game. I enter the Striaton City gym, and at the very end, since I replaced Snivy, this gym will always have me battle Chili, so let's take him on. His first Pokemon is Lillipup, which goes down in 2 hits after it wastes its 1 turn with Workup. His final Pokemon is Pansear. It does use Incinerate to burn the Oranberry I was holding, but it honestly doesn't matter since I forgot to update my overlay when I equipped it again. I'm still learning, guys, give me a break here. With the Trio Badge in hand, I take on Team Plasma in the Dream Yard bullying Amuna, get some Dream Mist for Fennel, and she gives me a Sea-Gear which is absolutely useless to me. And I go to the Pokemon Mart to buy my usual antidotes, Paralyze Heals, Repels, and some potions. I buy more Paralyze Heals than antidotes since paralysis is more of a threat in this game. I then enter Route 3, defeat all the trainers I have access to, and Wait, already? His team is the same as before, even with the Oranberry on Tepig, just higher level. But you can tell that even with all of that training, I am on par with Cheren's Tepig, so you can see why I needed to do all that training. But we even get more training in the nearby Wellspring Cave, where Cheren and I take on Team Plasma to rescue a stolen Pokemon from a little girl. While in here, I capture a Woobat and Roggenrola in the cave, the only 2 encounters here, each with a 50% chance to be encountered, and I will teach them Fly and Strength. It took a little bit to get, especially since I ran out of balls, and when I came back, I struggled to find a Roggenrola. When I finally did capture a Roggenrola, I battle the rest of the Route 3 trainers and enter Nakarine City. Cheren gives me some Chesto Berries, which for some Pokemon will help against Lenora since her Watchog has Hypnosis, but Volcarona won't be using that. I then try to enter the museum, but N comes out and challenges me to a battle. No intro for this fight since for now he's just a regular trainer. His team actually changes every time you face him to match the local wild Pokemon. He starts off with Pidove and then Timpole and Timber. Although Timpole has a type advantage to me, it is a very weak Pokemon, and my special defense gives me a lot of protection from Bubble Beam. Now, even though I can take on Lenora now, her team is very difficult, especially with her first Pokemon Herdier having a Leer and a Stab Takedown, which is same type attack bonus. And then her Watchog has the Stab Retaliate, which if used the turn after a Pokemon faints, it doubles in power. So for Watchog, if a Pokemon faints, it has an effective power of 210, which is super OP. I have to go to the exterior of Pinwheel. After defeating N again, I go back to my training, and with no more failures, even with every trainer defeated, I have to be a minimum of level 20 for Watchog in order to survive Retaliate. I have to train on a few wild Pokemon, and with the help of the gym trainers in Lenora's gym, I get to level 20, and then I take her on. Her first Pokemon Herdier can dictate how easy this fight will be. If it uses Takedown and I'm less than 36 HP, Retaliate will defeat me. And if it uses Leer, Retaliate will do 56 to 66 damage. So let's see how this goes. On attempt number 1, Herdier goes for Takedown, leaving me at 45 HP, so I can survive a non-crit Retaliate. However, since Watchog knew it couldn't KO me, it tries to go for Hypnosis. Now that Retaliate is weaker since a turn passed, and Flame Body burned Watchog, I had high hopes going for myself, but then I don't wake up in time and get a reset. Man, that was so close! On attempt number 2, Herdier goes for Leer, and then Watchog goes for Retaliate, and I live on 8 HP, but for some forsaken reason, my next Ember rolled so little damage I couldn't 2-hit it. And what makes it worse is that Flame Body activates and we both die at the same time, which is not allowed in my solo run. If my solo run Pokemon faints, it is a loss no matter what. On attempt number 3, Herdier goes for Leer, and Watchhog hits with Leer, since it detected that Retaliate would not KO, so it went for something else. And then Ember gets a clutch burn, so even if it did use Retaliate, I would have easily won this. I'm so glad this only took 3 tries, this fight's usually quite hard. Now Team Plasma steals the skull on a dragon skeleton, and then Berg and I have to chase them down into the Pinwheel Forest. I battle all the trainers in here, and trust me, there are a lot of them, which I'm not complaining about. There are even some Pokemon Rangers here who give you berries when you defeat them. The ones here only give Chesto and Pecha berries. I then get to the end, get the skull back from Grom and a Grunt, and I leave the forest and enter Sky Arrow Bridge, which is honestly one of my favorite bridges in the game, especially since you get to see boats go under it, and the camera angle even changes. With the first of many, many evil villain plotlines in the game completed, I enter Castelia City, defeat the trainers in the Battle Factory for the needed experience, and then do some more Team Plasma crap, and then I enter the gym, solve the honeycomb puzzle, and take on Berg, the bug-type gym leader. His first Pokemon is Whirlipede, which is not threatening at all, and I take it down with Ember. His Dwebble does have Smackdown, which is why I had to make sure I can one-hit it. It's a good thing his Dwebble here has Battle Armor instead of Sturdy, which actually works like modern Sturdy in this game, because this was the generation they actually fixed it, so it's much more of a pain, especially since most Pokemon with Sturdy have rock moves. So for Volcarona, that's going to be quite bad, but the Livani is no match, so this gym is still easy. With 3 badges in hand, I do back-to-back battles with my 2 rivals, starting with Bianca. Her team is much better than before on Route 2, but her team is no match for my Volcarona. Her Duat is a physical attacker, so that is a bigger problem for it, but I do have the move Struggle Bug, which I taught over Leech Life. This is the TM that Berg gives. It is a 30 base power move in this game, and it lowers the opponent's special attack by 1 stage. Not too bad of a move since not many attacks lower special attack. Now for Charon. His team is more difficult though. His Pignite is actually holding a Citrus Berry, and the Pidove before it goes down in 1 Ember. The Pansage right after it is also a 1-hit, and his Pignite's a 2-hit with Gust. I will say, later on, it will get Rollout, so I gotta keep that in mind. And then his final Liepard goes down with 1 Struggle Bug. I avoid the trainers on Route 4 and enter Nimbasa City, where Juniper gives me 10 Ultra Balls, which actually will be very helpful in the late game, but that will have to be explained later, as the Daycare Man is getting attacked by Team Plasma. With them gone though, he gives me the bike, which will make traveling around quite faster. The bike is very fast in this game, and I love it. I then heal at the center and purchase the TM for return for 10,000 Pokédollars. That's kinda cheap for a TM in this game, for how overpowered this move is. I also get the HM for strength and a random house, which is actually quite easy to forget. When I played this for the first time as a kid, I did not know where the strength was, and even when I was routing this, I had to look on Google where it was. At least in Black and White 2, they just straight up give it to you, but still. Also keep an eye out for that game coming soon. Anyway, I enter the battle subway not to get any battle points, but to take a train to Anvil Town, where you talk to this guard in a house for a rare candy. Rare candies are even more valuable in this game than any other game I've played so far, so I need all of them I can get since the final fights are super hard even if you're overleveled. As I search Nimbasa City for Team Plasma, I see N who offers to help me, and we board the Ferris wheel together to spot them, but he reveals to be the king of Team Plasma, so cue the intro. His first Pokemon is Sandile. A simple Struggle Bug does the job. Now for Sigilyph. It luckily goes down in 1 hit, but I will say I do not like this Pokemon at all. Darumaka is a 2-shot with Return, and the following Scraggy is a 2-hit with Gust, believe it or not. With Team Plasma and N chased away, I enter the Nimbasa City Gym, battle some trainers, ride the roller coaster, and go battle the Electric-type supermodel, Elisa. Her first Pokemon goes down to 1 Ember, which I actually was not expecting. Next up is her second Emolga, which actually does tank an Ember, and Aerial Ace does a third of my health. I'm able to take it out without taking more damage, and finally is Zebstrika. It attacks me with Spark after I land an Ember, but however, it doesn't do enough to harm me, doesn't paralyze me, and I defeat Elisa on the first try. Next up, I enter the musical with Bianca, do a very quick dress up with Volcarona, nice, and then I enter Route 5 for another Charon battle. Okay, I really should have healed for this fight, and I hope I do not regret this. Liepard goes down in 1 hit, but Pignite uses Rollout and does a bunch of damage to me, and then Tranquil is able to take me out with Air Cutter. Yeah, I kinda deserved that. On the next attempt, after going to the center since I ran out of potions, this battle goes way easier for me, which is how the fight should have gone in the first place. We then meet the champion of Unova, Alder, for the first time, and we challenge some preschoolers to a multi-battle, and then I take on the trainers on this route very quickly. Critical hit? Of course! Why wouldn't it be? I fight Charon again, and then fight the trainers along the route again, and then I cross the Driftvale drawbridge, and I enter Driftvale City. Clay, the gym leader, tells us to hunt Team Plasma, and then we can challenge him to a battle. We track them down to the cold storage, where a bunch of grunts are huddling around Zinzolin, one of the 7 sages. After Charon and I take them out, they are taken away only for Clay to release them to Getsus. Dude, what the hell? Whatever, either way, we're going to challenge Clay, the ground-type gym leader. I have the Expert Belt equipped, which boosts super effective moves by 20%. I got this at the Driftvale market in town, which is where I also purchased Moo Moo Milk for cheap healing items. His Krokorok is a 1-hit with Struggle Bug, but Excadrill is quite difficult. My Ember is a range to kill, but his Rock Slide is also a range to kill, so I would have to lose 2 ranges to lose this fight. But on the first battle, Excadrill used Bulldoze for some reason. He must have detected in his own head that Rock Slide would miss or not do enough damage, so it didn't bother going for it. But hey, even though the rolls in its head don't actually influence the real damage rolls, a win's a win, I'll take it. I then head to the center, buy tons of max repels, and you'll never guess what I do next. Another rival battle, this time with Bianca. Her team is the same as on Route 4, but her Munna is fully evolved into Musharna, but that doesn't make it any better. Most trainers are coded with the Pokemon's level up moves at that level, and Musharna being a stone evolution does not get good moves by level up, so this fight was not hard at all, even the Duat. After that, Clay clears the way into Chargestone Cave, and you want to know what I do next? Another villain plotline! But not only that, I have to talk to the professor and Bianca about random shit I don't care about. But hey, at least I get the lucky egg finally. This item is a godsend in the newer games. It gives me a 50% boost to my experience. I'll just skip over the trainer battles, but I will say I picked up a rare candy on the bottom floor, and I got the magnet past this ace trainer with a Turtoga. It does have a rock move, Ancient Power, but it is a special move, so it's not as bad, especially with Struggle Bug. Although I will say I was very scared here since I hadn't saved since Clay. Before I leave though, I have to do another battle with N. His lead Pokemon Boldore has Sturdy and a rock move, so this thing is going to be quite terrifying. I get it down to 1 HP, it attacks me with Smackdown, and I live in yellow health, and the rest of his team goes down to a quick and easy Ember. The next city is Mistralton City, where the next gym is. Before I can battle them, I have to go up through Route 7 and enter the Celestic Tower, and I have to go to the top and ring the bell, which is what you should totally do. Also, there's a weird glitch in this building. On floors 3 and 4, pressing B causes everyone to spin, even though these guys are not spinners. Since anyone can activate this glitch just by simply running or pressing the B button, I allow this to skip unnecessary battles. This was fixed in the sequels Black 2 and White 2, so I can't do that trick in those games. My theory is that these guys were supposed to be spinners, but they didn't entirely program it correctly. I got up top, ring the bell, and go back to Miss Stralton's city, solve the gym Ow! And I go battle Skyla, the flying type gym leader. First up is her Swoobat. I get a nice burn on it, but it actually turned out not to be nice, as the damage from burn puts it into heal range, and I have to use Ember again. But with Amnesia, my special moves are doing very little damage, and this fight ends rather quickly. On attempt number 2, it hits me with Acrobatics instead of Amnesia, which is super bad, as it allows Unpheasant to defeat me with a critical hit Air Slash. Next battle, I get the scenario I wanted with Swoobat, and the following Unpheasant and Swanna go down very easily, and I get a split time of 2 hours, 15 minutes, and 4 seconds. Yeah, these games are quite long, even longer than Platinum. I think at this point, Lucario was about to take on the League or defeat the 8th gym, but not Volcarona yet. I leave the gym, let N talk to my Pokemon, and I go through Route 7 and battle Charon in front of Twist Mountain. His team is now fully decked out with held items. His Unpheasant has the scope lens to boost critical hits, but that doesn't stop me from kicking its ass. Next up is Pignite holding the leftovers. 2 Gusts will take it out nicely. Liepard is a citrus berry, but Strugglebug is still a one-hit. I will not even talk about Simisage, but I will say, while Charon relies on held items, Bianca relies on potions. So when I fight Charon, I will know he will never use potions. Also, do you want to know why I'm going to be playing Pokemon Black in the winter? Here's why. As soon as I exit this cave here and get inside this open area pit of Twist Mountain, I can walk on the snow to get down faster and get the hidden rare candy which I can only get in the winter. Plus in the winter, I can skip a normally required trainer, and I can leave Twist Mountain with pride. We're now in Icarus City, the city of the Ice-type gym. But first, I heal in the Pokemon Center, and I sell some nuggets that I got in Chargestone Cave from the Nugget Brothers to the Ore Collector, who will buy certain stuff from you for double the price, like nuggets, and I can use the money to buy Fire Blast, because Ember is starting to not cut it anymore for some tough fights, so I teach it over Gust and enter the gym. You know, there is actually a glitch in this gym where some of the boulders didn't have collision data coded into them, and if you take advantage of them, you can skip one of the mandatory trainers. Since this glitch is very easy to do, and it's more of an oversight than a glitch since the programmers just forgot to put in collision data, I will allow this as well, but no other glitch is allowed. Although I do battle everyone in here anyway since I need the experience. What I've noticed is that the best way to train in this game is that you battle everyone in the early game, skip trainers in the mid game if you don't need it, and in the late game, battle everyone to get to the minimum level needed for the final fights. With all that out of the way, let's face Bryson, the Ice-type gym leader. All of his Pokemon are pure Ice type, so he is honestly one of the worst gym leaders in the game. At least Pryce in Gen 2 has Water type moves, and Lorelei has Water type moves. But this though, this is just awful. Ice is only resisted to Ice, the worst defensive type in the game. Fire Blast was needed just so the Beartic and Cryogonal weren't 2 hits. With 7 badges in hand, Bryson reveals the location of the Shadow Triad, and we have to go do some more Team Plasma stuff. I have to scale the Dragon Spiral Tower, defeat grunts along the way, including Giallo and his goons, and by the time I arrive at the top, N already resurrected Zekrom. We realized that we were going to need to find the other Pokemon Reshiram, so we go to the Desert Resort and enter the Relic Castle, but not before picking up the rare candy here. Ryoku tells us we have to fight more of his goons, so here we go again. When I get to the bottom, Getsis is already there. He tells us that N plans to show dominance throughout the region by defeating the Elite Foreign Champion, which is Alder. When we get out, Professor Juniper tells us to go to Nakarine City right away, as Lenora has the Light Stone, which is Reshiram. In order to figure out how to resurrect it as well, we have to fly to Icarus City and bike over to Opalucid. But before we can enter the Tube Line Bridge, we gotta do our last battle with Bianca. Her team is the same as before, but everything is fully evolved. Since the Lucky Egg is helping Volcarona remain at a higher level, even her Samurott is not a struggle at all, especially not her pathetic Musharna. With Bianca defeated, I cross the Tube Line Bridge, and then I'm stopped by Ghetsis, who tells us congrats for getting the Light Stone, and if we want our wish to stop N's wish, we need to resurrect Reshiram, and then he leaves. Now we are in Route 9. There is a shopping mall here called the Shopping Mall 9, clever name I know, where we can buy vitamins, and at this point we have so much money and there are not many mandatory trainers, so you can still get plenty of vitamins. I didn't buy any today since Volcarona didn't really need them, especially since I purchased Fire Blast. Finally, we enter Opalucid City, listen to Ghetsis' speech, and then we listen to what Drayden and Iris have to say. Man, what the f*** is with that sprite? Anyway, since I'm playing Pokemon Black, we'll be battling Drayden, not Iris. Their teams are the same, except Iris's Druddigon has sheer force instead of rough skin, and all of her Pokemon are female. Those are the only differences. But before we get to our final badge, we fly around the region and collect the miscellaneous rare candies we couldn't get to before. We have to be a minimum level before the final fights, so they are needed to skip a ton of trainer grinding. The rare candies I get are on Route 2 behind a boulder, Route 3 past some water, Miss Stralton Cave on the top floor, which was not easy to get to since I didn't have Flash, the Pinwheel Forest in a blocked off area is where I get the rare candy, and then I also get the Silver Powder, which boosts bug moves by 20%, which will be very helpful to Volcarona along with the Charcoal. That's all the rare candies we can get now. There is one more in Victory Road, but we'll get that later. We have a long gym puzzle to get through. Volcarona did struggle at some of these fights since the Fracture and Druddigon don't take much damage from fire moves, and I'd have to use the low PP moves of Fire Blast and Silver Wind. After a bit though, we make it to Drayden and do our last gym battle with the user of Dragon types. His first Pokemon is Fracture. Once Silverwind takes it out, bonus points if we get an Omni Boost, which we actually did. But even with the boost, Silverwind does not KO the Druddigon, so 2 hits is necessary. His ace is Haxorus, which goes down with a critical hit Silverwind, which also gave me an Omni Boost. So that was quite lucky and unnecessary. And I complete the gym challenge with a time of 3 hours, 5 minutes, and 35 seconds. Do you understand how long this game is yet? We can now enter Route 10 and go to Victory Road, but however, in routing, I'm going to face all of the trainers on this route to get to the right level I need for the final fights. So after catching 2 wild Pokemon to fill my party so the Reshiram I catch does not get put in the first slot of my party, as well as the trainers I can fight right now, I can do my last battle with Charon. His team is also the same but fully evolved, but since I'm at level 56, this fight was not hard at all, and I just kinda want to get to the end of the game already. I go through Victory Road, battle the only required trainer here. No joke, this Victory Road gauntlet is just 1 trainer long. You only fight Charon and the Ace trainer from Drayden to the Elite Four if you skip the optionals. But I do fight some of the optionals to get to level 61 before Candies, which is what I need. How was I supposed to know that bastard had Stone Edge? I just decided to black out and go back to the center, which I can do instead of resetting as long as it doesn't get the fight in a win. So before with Lenora, I couldn't have just blacked out because I technically beat Lenora. This is a cost of time and money though, but here it was definitely worth it since I hadn't saved since Drayden. Once I arrive at the league, I heal at the center, buy some full restores, and enter Victory Road again. I need 1 final TM for the league. The TM for Wild Charge. This is the electric type version of Takedown basically. What do I need this for? I'll show you when I get there. But for now, it is time to face the final 5 trainers. Let's do this shit. We can do the Elite 4 in any order, so the easiest one first for me is Grimsley. Since Dark is weak to Bug and I have a fire move for Bisharp, this guy was very easy to deal with. Next up is Caitlyn, the Psychic type user. I leveled up during the Grimsley fight and taught Heat Wave over Ember, but for this fight, since Psychic is weak to Bug, you can probably tell what I did for this fight. Next up is Chantal, the Ghost type Elite 4 member. This one is generally the most trolly. Here's the fight. She starts off with Cofagrigus, which has Will-O-Wisp, but I am immune to that, so that's not a threat today. I set up with Quiver Dance, which boosts my special attack, special defense, and speed by 1 stage. Next up is Jellicent, which is honestly the worst thing she has. It has the ability Cursed Body, so when I use an attack on it, it has a 1 in 3 chance of disabling that attack, which luckily doesn't happen. Her Chandelure has the ability Flash Fire, so it is immune to fire attacks. And I have to use Bug Buzz, which I learned at level 70. I used all of my rare candies before this winning attempt since I reached level 61. With Bug Buzz plus the Silver Powder, Chandelure was not a problem. And last of all, we've got Marshall, the fighting type user. I saved him for last since all of his Pokemon have rock moves, and his most scary Pokemon is his Sock, which has Stone Edge. But worst of all, it has Sturdy, so I cannot take it out in 1 hit. Luckily though, I survive a Stone Edge at 42 HP left. I'm just glad this thing doesn't get the same type attack bonus from it. That would have been bad. But the rest of his team after that are all 1-hits. Now we're on to the champion. Or are we? N has already defeated Alder, and in return, N rises N's castle from the ground and surrounds the Pokemon League. This is honestly one of the coolest cutscenes from the DS era. Just ignore the visual glitches because of the emulator. Change my mind in the comments below. I follow N into his castle to be stopped by 6 of the 7 sages, spewing Chinese proverbs such as,
"Those in accord with fate are preserved, and those who rebel against fate will perish.
When the ways lost, duty and justice appear.
One can lose the forest for the trees.
If you make a mistake and do not correct it, that is a second mistake. Superior men know what is right. Inferior men know what sells. There are not 2 suns in the sky, nor 2 sovereigns over the people."
With all those Chinese proverbs out of the way, we head to the throne room and Reshiram is now awakened. I then capture it in my Master Ball, put it in the PC, and then battle N. This is one of the hardest fights in the game. This is what we've been preparing for. His first Pokemon is the legendary Zekrom, which goes down with 1 Silver Wind after 1 Quiver Dance. His next Pokemon is Caracosta, a rock and water type with Stone Edge and Sturdy, and I cannot live a Sturdy. I have to get a Mist to proceed, which only happens 20% of the time. We actually get very lucky and get a Mist on the first try, which I was not expecting at all, and I take out Caracosta. Next up is Archeops. This thing also has Stone Edge, but with Wild Charge boosted by the Magnet from Charstone Cave, it will knock it out, so I don't have to worry about that RNG. And then everything else after that is weak to either Heat Wave or Bug Buzz. After that battle, N has a change of heart and Getsis comes to yell at him. He, as the 7th stage or the secret top boss of Team Plasma, takes us on for the final fight in the run. His first Pokemon is Cofagrigus. It does have the trolling moveset of Toxic and Protect, but it does go down in 1 hit. However, I do need to set up a Quiver Dance for later, so I decided to use it on Bisharp, and it had Stone Edge, which I forgot about, and I lived on 41 hit points left. I knew everything else was going to be a 1-hit from here, but my heart was still beating like a rabbit. On his last Pokemon, Electros, my hopes were high. I used Heat Wave, and it got the 10% miss and Volcarona gets knocked out. You've got to be kidding me. Since I saved before Reshiram, I have to face him again. I know now I could have just blacked out on Getsus and come back so I could just battle Getsus right away and not do Reshiram again, but I just forgot. I'll skip ahead a bunch of attempts until I get to Getsus again after Caracosta misses a Stone Edge, which doesn't take that long. I use Heat Wave on Cofagrigus and Bisharp, but it does land a Stone Edge after I miss a Heat Wave. Man, I am really starting to hate this move. I have to use Quiver Dance though, so I decided to chance it on Seismitoad, which since it has mostly special moves, it uses Muddy Water, and it misses. Okay, I am not taking any chances here. I'm going to use Bug Buzz to take out Getsus, and I finish the run with a final time of 3 hours, 57 minutes, and 22 seconds, and a game time upon finishing the credits of 5 hours and 26 minutes. As you can tell, this game is super long and super difficult, especially with N and Getsus. You know, when I routed this out and Charizard out in this game as well, half the time spent planning was just for N and Getsus. That's how hard they are, but it doesn't matter. We finally have a successful run. But we're not done yet. It is time for our Pokemon Black version of Round 2. We'll be facing the second round of the Elite Four, along with a final secret boss. Unlike Pokemon Leaf Green and Pokemon Platinum, no extra stuff is needed to face the second round, so I could just go there right away if I wanted to. But I do go through some of the post-game areas in search of some moves. On Route 13, I get the TM for Psychic, which should help with Chantal's Pokemon, and I can get rid of Wild Charge and use an entirely special attacking moveset. I also go in the Abundant Shrine to get the TM for Flamethrower, which is weaker than Heat Wave, but as you can tell, I am really starting to hate Heat Wave, so good riddance. With this moveset and emergency rare candies in my inventory, just in case I need them, it is now time to take on the Elite Four one last time. All of the Elite Four have better teams and 6 Pokemon, challenging as ever. The first one I face is Chantal. She starts off with Cofagrigus yet again. I use this chance to set up some Quiver Dances to make sure I can sweep the rest of her team, but getting hit with a critical hit Shadow Ball was not fun at all, so now's the time to sweep. Next up is her stupid Jellicent. I use Bug Buzz for less than half, it misses Hydro Pump, I use Psychic, and now I'm dead. On attempt number 2, I set up more Quiver Dances on Cofagrigus, and then I take it and Jellicent out. No Cursed Body today, that's good. Next is Drifblim, and one Flamethrower boosted by Charcoal is enough. Now for Chandelure. Psychic is enough for the one hit. That thing is why I wanted Psychic. Golurk is next, and it goes down to the Wrath of Flamethrower, which cannot miss, I am so glad to say that. Frostlass is her last Pokemon, and Flamethrower does the deed. The next Elite Four member I have to face is Grimsley. He starts off with Sharpedo, which is not a good lead at all, and setting up a Quiver Dance may not have been a good idea. But it does get burned at least, so I take it out with Bug Buzz. Scrafty is eliminated with Flamethrower, and Crocodile goes away with Bug Buzz. Liepard is next, but it hits Sucker Punch, and that's the end of me. On the next try, I get knocked out with Head Smash from Scrafty, which is a Rock-type move. On attempt number 3, the same fate comes back to bite me in the ass.
Those in accord with fate are preserved, and those who rebel against fate will perish.
I use some emergency rare candies and try again. Everything is a one-hit KO after one Quiver Dance setup, so I'm able to move on to the next one. Anyway, the third Elite Four member is Caitlyn. I'm just going in order today from left to right. Weird. Anyway, Caitlyn is far different from the others. She is the only Elite Four member I believe in any Pokemon game whose main Pokemon, her ace, changes between the first and second round. Her ace in the first round was Gothitelle, and in the second round it's Metagross, which is way scarier. But right now, Musharna is the lead instead of Reuniclus, so I use this chance to set up, which is not a good idea as it uses Hypnosis and Dream Eater to take me out. On the next attempt, I wake up quickly and Musharna gets taken out with Bug Buzz. Sigilyph is next, and one Flamethrower does the job. I skip teaching Rage Powder, which is just useless in a solo run, and then I knock out Metagross with Flamethrower, and Bug Buzz for Reuniclus, Gothitelle, and then Flamethrower for Bronzong. Not too bad. We've got one more though, and he was super difficult before. Marshall. His lead is Breloom, which has Spore, so I do not want to set up on it. So I use Flamethrower right away. Next up is Sawk, which still has Stone Edge, and then it gets me for the one hit. This goes on for quite a while, and then I thought of a new plan. I fly back to Icarus City, enter Twist Mountain, and only in the winter, which is another reason to play it in the winter, I get the TM for Substitute. I can have Volcarona set up a Substitute, and it'll give me more chances for Stone Edge to miss. I didn't do this trick with N in the first round because all the move slots were full, and I needed every single move I had at the time. Since I have to fight the previous Elite 4 members again since I had to leave the league, I'm going to skip ahead to Marshall. To have Substitute on the moveset, I have to replace Bug Buzz with Flamethrower. On Breloom, I set up Substitute and try to set up, but instead of going for Spore like I thought it would, since the broken AI I've shown before in Leaf Green is in this game too, the plan didn't work out too well. But what did work is that I was able to fish for a Stone Edge miss and I win the battle on the first try. Actually, I can't face the champion yet as I forgot to take out Grimsley, and now I no longer have Bug Buzz. I could have retaught Struggle Bug, but I didn't think of doing that. But Flamethrower, boosted by the Charcoal in one Quiver Dance, actually still knocked it out, so never mind then. This Elite 4 section still took long enough. Let's face the champion of Unova, Alder. His first Pokemon is Excelgor, which is honestly just pathetic. It doesn't know anything good against me, so I set up all 6 Quiver Dances, and in one hit, I take out his Excelgor, Bouffalant, Escavalier, Volcarona, Druddigon, and Vanillux, and I become the champion of the Pokemon League. But we're not done yet though. Remember the secret final boss? That secret final boss is, in Undella Town, the champion of Sinnoh, Cynthia. She has her own theme and team in this game, so this will be quite a challenge. Her first Pokemon is Spiritomb, and it likes to set up Double Team, so I created a Substitute and set up my Quiver Dances, and once I'm fully set up, I use Flamethrower, and eventually I hit through the Double Teams for the one hit. I then one hit the rest of her team, which composes of Garchomp, of course, Milotic, Braviary, Electros, and Lucario. So on the first try, I defeated Cynthia, which marks the end of this solo run. I hope y'all enjoyed this. This was not fun in the moment, especially with the second round of the Elite 4, plus Enon Getsus was a pain, but editing this project together was actually a lot of fun. Pokemon Black is one of my favorite games, but what is even better is Pokemon White version 2. I'll be running through that game with Charizard as a livestream like before, and the edited run will feature Zoroark. Man, I need to stop running with fire types, but at least Zoroark will be a break from that. Please like, comment, and subscribe if you want to see more, and follow my socials such as joining my Discord server or supporting me on Patreon. Either way, it's really appreciated. Also, we just hit 1,000 subs. By this time, I already will have published the Electivire video, and I just want to say again, thank you so much for getting me to the 4 digits. Like, I am so happy about it. But with that out of the way, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all in the next speedrun.